Hey guys, in that video I want to introduce you the Gregtraider, and framework I have created for the creation of online trading bots and for the testing that bots trading strategies in the historical trading data. Framework has couple of advantages, and there's not only nice plotly charts, but it can really ease your life, really reduce time of trading bot creation. Because in normal approach, when you have some library for the backtesting your strategy on historical data, you need to create your strategy according the rules of that library, adjust your strategy, and after that you need to rewrite the same strategy for the online trading bot according his own API, his rules. After that, it's also a good idea to test it maybe on broker demo account for a couple of days to see if you have no any bugs that appears during rewriting. And it looks like you need to write your code 2 times, like one time too much. That's why I have decided to create an Gregtraider, in which you should to write your code only once, create your strategy and test it with the historical data, adjust it, and after adjusting, it's already ready for online trading. It's no any rewriting and so on. Framework also has a really short and simple code, so you can create any custom indicator you want and plot it, not only use the standard ones. For the same reason, it's also, I think, really easy to debug. You can download it from my GitHub, link in the description, and let's start with that. So, how to use Gregtraider? Step number 1 is to get data. The previous trading data we will need to test our strategies. And there are a few ways to do it. If you just want to see what the Gregtraider is, if you don't even sure if you need it or not, you can find some data I have already prepared for you in historical data folder. And there is a couple of different instruments you can test your strategies on. Another way to get data is just download it from somewhere in internet, from some portals like Yahoo Finance, and after that ensure that your data has the same format like mine. I mean the column names is the same, like date, time, close, open, low, high, prices, and volume. Problem is that data from Yahoo Finance and other sources is that I really couldn't find historical data in internet that have a resolution lowest than 1 day. So the way I recommend you to get data is to implement the download CSV file and download data from your broker. From your broker API. You can see the example I implemented it from my broker in that folder. Is download CSV XTB file. Is file I implemented for XTB broker. So if you have same broker, just use that file. If you have some another, just to see how it's done here and do it for your broker in the similar way. Next step we need to do is to create our strategy class, and I hope after the implementing all that stuff I'm talking to you, the strategy creation will be the single thing you will need to do during using of Gregtraider. So let's see how to create the strategy. In strategies folder I have created one example strategy based on RSI indicator, and let's see how such typical strategy looks like. In the initialization function we initializing some constances, um, and also initializing some dictionary with the plot data with the indicators we want to be on our plot after the simulation. After that we have the next function, and there is the function that will be called every step, like in every bar of our trading data. And in that function we have all the calculation our strategy needs to do. So for example, it calculates the RSI indicator, EMA indicator based on the pandas technical analysis library. Also calculates some my custom indicators, and adds data to the dictionary with indicators we need to plot. And after that has some functions which are open or closing positions, which checking the if we need now to open the position, and if yes, it do so. That function checks condition if lots from -2, it will be like not last but previous before the last parameter. And we are checking if that parameter is below the RSI threshold, and if the last RSI value is greater than previous before that RSI value plus some offset. And after that it's some check if no another position was opened during the several last iterations, and if so, we are open position. And that open position function, so closing them, is just empty functions that will be implemented in the online trading or backtesting functions in a different way. So that's why we are just leaving them empty. Okay, let's assume we created our strategy and now we wanna test it. So in Gregtraider.py, the file for the testing our strategies on the previous data, on the past trading data, we need to import our strategy and make our main class inherit from the strategy. Also, we need to pass the path to our CSV with the data to that class, and that's really all. All the stuff you have here is just implementing the functions of trading transaction for that on that previous data and plotting that all transactions. So let's run it. And we can see that it opens and closes in some positions. And yes, it works. It shows some nice chart, and you can see there an close price in that green color. Some indicators we can put in the same graph, in the same place where we put in the prices. So in our case we have EMA indicator that needs to be like about that price. Below that we have some momentum indicators like RSI in our case, that yellow line, and we also can add some custom indicators, not some standard ones, but we can also create ours, and that in our case we have that upper and lower RSI thresholds that signalize when we should buy and when we should sell our commodities. On the top we have our cash history, and the blue line is the cash that we have after buying or selling some commodities, but the red line is the true cash. So it cash that its value that actualizes just after the transaction is ended. Another innovation to make our life easier is that the Gregtraider during the simulation starting from the zero amount of cash. And in other frameworks it's very often we need to put some initial amount of money, which in that approach in my opinion causes some problems, because when strategy goes about that zero amount of money, it can't buy any more of commodities, and strategy is not tested in proper way, and you need to increase that amount of money, and for some another instrument if you change it you also need to maybe one more time change that amount of money. And I noticed that during the simulation of my strategy I'm not interested in seeing the final amount of money here, but I want to see the difference between the final amount of money and beginning one. So it will be more easier to just have zero at beginning and see the pure difference. In that middle chart you can see points when the frameworks make some transactions, buy or sell commodities, that pointed with that blue or red lines. And also after closing every transaction it shows the amount of profit or loss it get on that transaction. And we can get closer and for example debug our strategy. We can see why it opens transaction here, and we can see in that point our RSI was about the upper threshold and gets below it. So that's why we opened short position. And after that here, when RSI comes below the threshold, below the lower threshold, we are closing the position with some profit. And now let's try to experiment with some another commodities. For example, let's try our strategy on the gold chart. So we need to change pass to our historical data. And run it one more time. And yes, we have a nice chart, another nice chart for gold. And finally, after we already created our strategy and let's assume we ensure that it really works and generates good profit for you, we can implement it online to make our bot trade. And hopefully in Gregtraider the strategy is already ready for the online trading. You should not rewrite it for your bot. You should not to test it one more time or something on their own account. You just need to implement one time, like when you start working with your bot, with your Gregtraider, you should implement that file that names online trading. Let's see what's inside. Implement with API of your broker. You have that functions for open long, open short and so on, for checking if there no some position opened last time. Quite simple file, you can implement one time and you are ready for trading for forever. You can also see an example of my broker of XTB here when I'm implemented that file for this concrete broker. And if you have the same one, you can use that file that I already created and not implement your own. Yes, so maybe let's see. I will show you on my demo account how the strategy working. For example, we already have gold as a symbol here. Period, maybe let's get 5 minutes, and let's schedule how often it should do that training. In our case, we need to do it every 5 minutes. And yes, let's run now our online training. And every 5 minutes it will check if it should open some position or close it, and will make some transactions. I will show it to you after some time when some transactions will be made. And after some time we can see that our bot working. It opens some positions. I changed the commodity from gold to Texas oil because at gold it was too stable situation. It was like no signals to buy or sell. And also changed the interval to 1 minute. And we can see here that our bot trade transaction somewhere about RSI minimum here. So yes, it looks like it gonna work. Okay guys, so thanks for watching. You can find in the description link to the Gregtraider repository, so feel free to use it. Feel free to commit some changes to it. And if you like that video, please press the like button. Please subscribe because it's like my first video, so I really need to see if it have any sense to make more videos for you if you're interested in such kind of content. And also please leave in commentaries some information if you want to see some topics you're interested about in the future. Maybe some strategy implementation, maybe you want me to implement some your techniques or strategies with the Gregtraider, or maybe some another technical analysis stuff you want to see here. So guys, see you later.